Joining us via Skype is Dr. Tolu Olufunlayo from the Amuwo-Odofin area of Lagos. Good evening. Okay, I'm being corrected. That is actually Yaba in Lagos. Dr. Olufunlayo, thank you so much for your time. At this stage now, the assessment from phase one is that, look, compliance was nothing to write home about. What is there to say that in the next 2 weeks, anything is going to change?
Well, thank you. Good evening, viewers. In the next 2 weeks, we really do have a great task ahead of us. It's doable, but we'll have to really push ourselves very hard. You've been talking about awareness versus compliance on the show. For us to be able to get people to comply, they not only need to be aware, they need to have a buy-in into what we are talking about. When people hear about COVID-19, there's so many reactions they might have. So these people that are aware could deny it. They could be skeptics and, tout so many theories. They could be complacent, or they could be motivated. We need to get people to buy into being personally responsible. And the best way to do that is to engage them bottom up. Get them through people that they trust so that they actually take the message and act on it.
I must ask, though, I mean, given the figures that came out today in the NOI polls that the Information Minister, Lai Mohammed, was quoting, that 99% plus people are aware of this. They say that virtually everybody they spoke to is aware of COVID-19, what you need to do to keep yourself safe from it. But that has had very little impact on the compliance. So when you say engagement from bottom up, awareness is not the problem, it appears now, going by this poll. It is a question of people seeing the importance of complying. How do you make someone see the importance of complying with something that is in his own interest?
Well, that's the point I'm making, that, you see, it's a good first step that they are aware, but if they don't buy into it, if they don't see that they are protecting themselves and their loved ones, then there are so many reactions they might have. Let me use the example of the seatbelts. Even if we say we want to enforce compliance, and there's so much enforcement, which we do not have the resources to do, imagine someone wearing a seatbelt in his car, supposed to use a seatbelt. He only uses it when he sees the traffic warden because he doesn't want to get arrested. Not because he believes that if he has an accident, that seatbelt will help him. So in the same way, we must be able to speak the people's languages at their own level to make them understand that carrying out these measures is what will protect them, and that there's something in the first place that they need to protect themselves from.
Where do you stand on the issue of a national response? Because that's the other side of this. As the government is talking about easing the lockdown or continuing the slight easing of this lockdown phase one for another 2 weeks, you have state governments that are almost like lifting the cap on everything. People can resume going to markets, going to churches, going to mosques. They talk about the caveat of the rules and guidelines, but it's basically back to business as usual.
Well, I think today the PTF did say that if states, adhered to the pillars of the easing of the lockdown, i.e. the public health measures, physical distancing, and so on and so forth, then they were all right if they, had their own variations. But I think it's also a matter of engagement. If some states go, out of the way, then I think it should be pointed out to them. But by and large, I think every state is interested in the health of its people. And I'm sure that they would, even if they, go out of line in the beginning, they'll be able to look at it, assess it, and then retweak and, try and make sure that everything goes.
The interstate travel ban is the other thing that's been extended. for 2 weeks, other than the
Yes.
curfew. The interstate travel ban, Kayla's reporting from Abuja just reminded us of the fact that in spite of that travel ban, people are moving back and forth, arrests are being made. But when we talk about community transmission, it is all these people moving back and forth and moving from one location to another who may be largely responsible. Again, is it a question of lack of engagement in that case, especially when you find people hiding under livestock in trucks, knowing fully well that they're not supposed to be in those trucks?
It's really quite a serious matter. We hear that people pay very, very large amounts of money to be smuggled in these cars. And one wonders really what the motivation would be. Because if it is economic, then I don't think they'd be able to afford to pay that much. So I would say that, well, this is one of the areas where enforcement would really be, very necessary to be able to mount guard at these interstate borders to ensure that people largely do not move around from state to state. But again, we still have to make people understand the reason why only essential outings should be done at this time. Remember, we are still in a lockdown. It is just that it has been eased. And this is only the first phase. This is one of the reasons why we haven't even been able to go into the second phase. Rather than us moving around, what we need to do now is to sit down. Every sector needs to plan how they are actually going to resume when the lockdown is fully eased. Because without that, we will find out that we will not be able to curb transmission, we'll not be able to stop transmission, and this curve will not flatten. So let's focus on the important things right now. Every Nigerian needs to take responsibility for their health in this pandemic.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tolu Olufunlayo, consultant public health physician, who joined us via Skype from Yaba, Lagos. Thank you very much for your time.